Since the release of the new NVIDIA driver with the improvements of DLSS 4.5, we've all rushed to use it in DCS, employing different methods suggested in various gaming and simulator communities. In each case, the behavior seems to be different, and it's difficult to know what works and what doesn't amidst all the confusion and advices. Some people have said it has to be done one way and must configure a certain setting, only to backtrack later, or say, do this part but not that other part. I'm going to share my experience so everyone can draw their own conclusions because I had to install and uninstall the driver, only to reinstall it manually in DCS only, after several problems. First, I installed the new driver 591.74 and the beta version of the NVIDIA application. Then I configured the DCS application to use the M preset. After all this, I tried the mission I usually use to test performance, a low-altitude Apache flight over the coastal roads in the Mariana Islands map. I immediately saw an improvement in the image and the disappearance of ghosting. However, this came at the cost of a frame rate drop to 30 frames per second from the 45 frames per second I usually get on this mission. It didn't matter if I used the M or K preset in the NVIDIA application, or even adjusted the textures and lights options in DCS. Since I experienced the same behavior in other missions, and after several tests, I found that the only thing that worked was lowering the DLSS mode from quality to performance in the DCS menu options panel. So, changing only this setting and leaving the rest as before, I partially recovered the lost frames without a noticeable loss of visual quality. However, the horror happened today when I went to play a game that uses the Unreal Engine VR mod, a program that allows you to play games like Ace Combat, MechWarrior 5, and RoboCop Rogue City in VR. In the case of Ace Combat and RoboCop, the VR performance had going to the 7th hell, essentially becoming a slideshow. And in the case of MechWarrior, it simply threw a fatal error when trying to start any mission in VR. After several tests and frustrations, I decided to uninstall the NVIDIA beta application, reinstall it, but without using the beta, and revert to the previous driver version 591.59, completely removing version 591.74. First, I found that the situation hadn't improved much. But after a few more tests, I noticed that something had reactivated DLSS in RoboCop and ray tracing in MechWarrior 5 setting menus, which severely degrade the performance of both games in VR. I suspect this might have happened when installing the beta, and if you're experiencing similar issues in other games, I recommend checking the options menus of any affected game, just in case. I'd also like to ask you to subscribe, comment, and like. Making and editing videos takes a lot of time and effort, and any help with the algorithm of YouTube is always appreciated. If you'd also like to help me to keep the channel going, you can become a Patreon and receive great rewards like mods and DCS missions for your support. The thing is, after uninstalling everything and disabling the options that had magically activated in MechWarrior and RoboCop, everything went back to normal. The Unreal Engine games in VR returned to normal performance, and DCS was back to ghosting and blurry, just like before installing anything. From there, I decided to simply take the DLL from the new controller and overwrite the ones in the DCS folders, making backups before, as suggested in some forum threads. This without touching any DCS settings, without adding anything to the autoexec.cfg file, without using preset K, preset M, or any other crap. I restarted DCS and now I see that the image quality has improved again, ghosting has been significantly reduced, and the frame rate in the Marianas mission remains at 45 frames per second, just like before, and the Unreal Engine VR game's performance, of course, wasn't affected. Don't ask me why installing the new driver from the NVIDIA application caused my performance to drop to 30 FPS for no reason, in addition to the major problems with the other games. However, by manually installing the DLL, and only the DLL, the visual quality has improved without any noticeable frame rate loss. There you have it in case it's helpful. Thanks for watching the video.